Welcome to Sphere Finance. I am Pricetime and you're watching Sphere TV. In this video, I'm going to explain how Sphere will become deflationary and what that means for long-term Sphere investors. Also, over 50% of you watching are not subscribed. So if you end up enjoying the video and haven't already, subscribe. It helps support the channel, and by ringing the bell, you will automatically be notified when we create new content. Shout out to the 45%, you know who you are, and thank you. Like many projects, Sphere Finance initially offered a high daily ROI of rebases occurring every 30 minutes. In the short term, these rebases benefit Sphere holders by giving them high interest as they earn more Sphere tokens. The process of rebasing or printing more of the same token is what is known as an inflationary mechanism. Inflation is a decline in the value and purchasing power of a currency over time. This comes from an increase in the amount of currency available. Think of it this way: if there were only ever 2 Sphere tokens in existence, those 2 tokens would be highly valuable because there are only 2 of them. But then, if another 2 Sphere tokens were created, those initial 2 tokens suddenly become less valuable because now more tokens exist overall. From a price perspective, let's say those 2 Sphere tokens were in a liquidity pool with $100 of USDC. 2 tokens into $100 gives a price of $50 per Sphere token. However, if another 2 Sphere tokens were created, now there are 4 tokens in the liquidity pool. 4 tokens into $100 gives a price of $25 per Sphere token. So for each new token rebased or created, all tokens actually become less valuable. And that is true for all rebasing protocols. This inflationary process is exactly what has been happening to the US dollar over the last century, as more and more US dollars are printed by the US Federal Reserve. In 1913, the US dollar was worth over 26 times more than it is now. This is inflation, a decline in the purchasing power of the US dollar simply because there is more of it, making each dollar less valuable. The rebases received by Sphere Finance investors, although beneficial to early holders, are less beneficial to long-term investors because an increase in token supply inevitably leads to a decline in the value or price of all tokens. This is exactly why, over time, Sphere Finance is transitioning from an inflationary model to a deflationary one. Deflation is the exact opposite of inflation. Deflation is the increase in value or purchasing power of a currency over time. With deflation, fewer and fewer tokens become available, making all remaining tokens inherently more valuable. To give you an example, let's go through the same illustration but in reverse. Say there are 4 Sphere tokens in a liquidity pool of $100 USDC. Each Sphere token is worth $25. Now let's burn 2 tokens and remove them from the liquidity pool forever. The remaining 2 tokens are now worth $50 each. This is the process of deflation. Sphere Finance already has a deflationary mechanism built into TetuSwap. When people swap to and from Sphere, TetuSwap earns a small fee for the transaction. Because Sphere Finance has the majority governance power over TetuSwap, those swap fees can be burned and removed from circulation to increase the value or price of all remaining Sphere tokens. Eventually, Sphere Finance will transition to a completely deflationary model. Profits from the multiple revenue streams of Sphere will be used to buy and burn Sphere tokens, causing a high amount of deflation. This deflation will dramatically increase the price of the Sphere token, making Sphere a non-rebasing store of increasing value. This is also why quantum liquidity is so important and adds another layer to the equation, because not only will Sphere tokens be removed from the liquidity pool and burned to increase the value or price of all remaining Sphere tokens, but also the WMATIC or USDC side of the liquidity pool will passively increase from quantum liquidity, meaning that over time, fewer and fewer Sphere tokens will equal more and more WMATIC or USDC. Think of it this way. Say there are 1 million Sphere tokens matched with 1 million USDC. That means each Sphere token would equal $1. Now let's say the Sphere Treasury is able to buy and burn 500,000 Sphere tokens for 500,000 USDC. In reality, the actual amount of USDC would be much greater because of how liquidity pools work, but we will keep things simple for this example. Then, let's say at the same time, Sphere is able to use quantum liquidity to yield an additional 500,000 USDC. Because of these combined efforts, the value or price of each Sphere token would increase from $1 to $4 passively. So for every $100 initially invested, you would now have $400 in this simplified example. It is passive because it does not require any buying pressure from new investors. Altogether, that is why transitioning from an inflationary model to a deflationary one is so beneficial to long-term Sphere investors. It will cause what is known as forced price appreciation of the Sphere token that is independent of the buy pressure of external investors. Compared to the old inflationary rebase model, a deflationary forced price appreciation will result in significantly greater wealth generation for long-term Sphere investors. I'll continue to post updates and informational videos about Sphere Finance, so be sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out. If you're following Sphere Finance, you've probably also heard about Dystopia and Penrose. You can find their official links in the description below. Be sure to follow them because Dystopia plans to launch May 13th. If you have any questions about Sphere Finance, other people are probably wondering the same thing. The best place to reach out for help or contact us is through the Sphere Finance Discord. The link is in the description below, as well as links to the Sphere Finance Telegram, Twitter, official website, and other useful links. You can also leave a comment below with your question and we will do our best to help educate you and the community. After all, this video and channel is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Click the link on screen now to watch another video. Thanks for watching, and always remember that you matter for who you are.